Hello, hello. In this video, I want to share with you my favorite wrist stretches for strengthening and stretching the wrists, because we use the wrists in everything we do. We are constantly using them to text, to type if you work at a computer all day, or maybe you have some sort of other type of work that you do with your hands. But basically, our wrists are our hands. We use them for everything throughout our day. And we use them a lot in yoga poses, in the chaturangas, those little push-ups that you do. We use them for side planks and all kinds of things, right? So we put a lot of pressure on our wrists in the common vinyasa yoga poses. We do a lot of chaturangas and down dogs in a typical vinyasa class. So one of the most common complaints that I hear from my students is about, some sort of uncomfortableness or discomfort, I should say, in their wrists, or maybe even pain. And that should never happen. You should not be having pain when you're doing yoga. And also just feeling weak in the wrists. And this is something that I used to struggle with a lot. So over the past few years, I have been working a lot with my wrists and have made huge progress on feeling a lot more strong and stable in the wrists. And the wrist, actually the joints in the wrist and the bones in the wrist are really, really small. So you do want to be really careful with them and take really, really good care of them. So I'm going to teach you about some wrist health exercises today. Some of my favorite things to do. And I do include these stretches, a lot of them, in almost every yoga class that I teach. So it's a great way to, if you're having your own home practice, always do a little bit of warm up with your wrists. So of course, your typical little circles with the wrist, you can start there, do that. That's always good, right? Hear the little cracks and pops. Another really easy, simple one to do is extend the fingers back, press them down. Just a nice, easy stretch for the tops of the wrists and the inside of the wrist. Now, one of my favorite ones to do is called, I call them wrist bombs or shooting stars. And you're going to take your wrists out in front of you into little fists with the thumb on the outside. Squeeze the fists together and flex the fist down. You'll start to feel that really strong through the tops of your wrists. And then you shoot the fingers out like little shooting stars, and then come back. Squeeze the fist, flex it down, and shoot the fingertips out. And you just stretch your finger up, your hands up as much as possible here. And so do this just a few times. You'll start to really feel the stretch and you'll start to feel how intense it is. So just take it easy. Take deep breaths. Stay with your breath as you do this. You'll really start to feel it in the forearms. This is also great for strengthening the forearms and strengthening the elbows. Also, if you have like tennis elbow or any sort of elbow pain, you will feel this throughout your whole arm. So just go as fast or as slow as you like. Remember to breathe through any intensity. So you take a few of those and you'll start to really feel it. So just shake it out afterwards. So another really common one that you might see in your yoga classes, or often teachers will say, just come into your tabletop position and then turn your fingertips back toward your knees. And this is a really good one, just really nice and easy. You can stretch the undersides, the insides of the wrist by sitting the hips back a little bit toward the heels. You can take a few little circles in one way and then the other. And this is one that it's very, common. I like to use this a lot in my classes. Another one that you'll see is coming onto the backs of the hands or the tops of the hands with, again, the fingers facing towards your knees. And this one can be pretty intense also either way. If you keep your weight of your shoulders over your hands, you're kind of giving yourself a little bit more of a massage, which can feel really good for the tops of your wrists. But if you sit your hips back more, you can kind of deepen the stretch. So this one is nice either way. But if you want to take some weight off of your hands, just sit back a little bit into your hips. So I like to once again take a few little circles in both directions with this one. And now a few other ones. Don't forget to shake your wrists out afterwards. A few other ones that I like. They're a little bit different. For me, they don't work as well, but I know that for some people they work really well. So I want to show them to you. You, once again, come into your tabletop position, and then your fingers are facing forward. You're, lengthening out your fingertips, spreading out your fingers, and you start to lift up through the heel of your hand, keeping the knuckles into the ground. Well, the second pair of knuckles there, and the fingertips. So you just lift up and then back down. And you keep your shoulders, you try to keep your shoulders over your wrists. Lift up and then back down. And breathe through that. Now this one doesn't work so well for me because weirdly I don't have like flat knuckles, so they don't go flat to the ground. I don't know why that is, but it's just always been that way. So for me, it doesn't work so well, but for you, you might find that it feels like a really, really good fascial stretch for those tissues on your palm. And then the last one I want to show you is bringing your hands into a fist under your shoulders. Once again, maybe about 1 fist length apart. Your thumb on the outside, squeezing to that fist, and then begin to roll down onto the back of your wrist. And then rolling right back up onto your knuckles. Down and up, like little mini push-ups almost here in the back of your wrists. And then just keeping the weight of your shoulders right over your hands and breathing through it. So I'll just show you that from the front just so you can see kind of what it looks like. Rolling down and then rolling right back up. Yeah, so I hope these help you. I hope some of these exercises begin to help you feel a little bit more strong and stable through the wrists and the hands. And you can have a great practice with all your side planks and your chaturangas and feel a little bit more strong there for some hand balances maybe. But I think these are really essential with the type of work that we do on the computer and with our technology nowadays to keep these bones healthy. So if you like this video or you have any questions, any feedback, anything else you want to see, please feel free to comment and definitely share if you found it helpful, and save it to come back to in the future as your little warm-up before you start all your classes. And so, yeah, I hope that helped you and you get a little wrist love, wrist magic up in there. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Namaste.